Howdy, howdy, howdy. John Boy the U.S. Piper. Just checking in. Incidentally, on the C-pipe inserts, I've about given up on keeping all the carbon off that corner because it just goes right back if you clean it. But there's the center nozzle that the gas comes out that's like some kind of a coppery looking metal. And then there's a little armature off the side, right around this side of it. That's, it's like a spark plug gap away. And that's where, from the piezo, your spark travels from that to it actually grounds off on the gas tube or the exit jet or whatever you want to call the nozzle. The gas comes out. If you very carefully, once in a blue moon, especially when you notice it's starting to take 2 or 3 clicks, just take a dry pipe cleaner and just go around the outside very lightly. You don't bend anything or move anything, but just knock any loose carbon off of that and kind of spin it around and very lightly brush. Don't put real tension on it. You don't want to move anything or change any specs, but just knock the loose carbon off that little armature. It goes right back to, that's the first time it's taken a second. Well, you know how it is. You do it on camera. But it seemed to immediately go back to, and it was taken, it was never, sometimes it'll go into a, it might need 2 or 3 clicks occasionally, but most of the time it's 1 or 2. But that seemed to move it instantly back to, 1. Unless you're trying to film it. This takes a little. Got some of the Gawith and Hogarth. This is the whiskey twist, mixed about 50-50 or 60-40. Might be a little heavy towards the whiskey twist, but I found if you mix that in the Gawith and Hogarth Black Irish twist, my goodness, talk about good. It's good by itself. They're both good by themselves, but man, you put those two together and those two crazy kids are just wonderful. It really gives you some of the you still get that nice smoky, darker olive tones coming out of the Black Irish, but once you finally get the thing going, you'll also find you get some of that nice whiskey twist flavor, which to me the whiskey probably sticks out a little more than the other ones do. The other ones you could just about miss, the fact that, the maple and the sweet coconut and so forth, they're very slightly. They're not a traditional aromatic, and neither is this. There's the whiskey twist. And, of course, comparatively, that's the Black Irish, which lives up to its name. It's pretty much black. And they basically just take the brown and dip it in olive oil and do a kind of a steam press cooking on it. pulls down some of the tar, cooks out some of the tars and nicotine, and kind of helps that flavor just get in there and kind of meld with the natural kind of low-key spiciness, along with the natural overtones, softer overtones of the brown twist that I really like. And I like the black twist, but I think I like the brown twist better. But I really like smoking them together. Anywhere around 50-50, or you can lean one way or the other. And it'll ebb and flow in the pipe a little bit. And the whiskey flavor may drop back. I mean, I just, got this a number of days ago, so it's pretty fresh. It's about as fresh as it could be. And so I'm sure this is about as strong as the whiskey flavor is going to be from it. But so it's still a little damper than I normally smoke it. What I normally do is I mostly rub it out. I cut it with a cigar cutter into coins, and then I feed those back through. So it's sort of roughly cube cut, but I rub it out. And there's still some, not really cubes, but some nodules here and there in it. And even if you do fully rub it out, it's a slow burn either way. This is on the way to dry. It's not quite there yet. I'll just leave it in this tin. And pull the lid off occasionally while I'm out here and let it get a little more airtime. It's sneaking up on being in the right place. When it hits just right humidity, I'll throw it in the jar. If it makes it there. It doesn't always. But to be honest, I probably wouldn't have tried the whiskey twist, other than that was the only one I could get of the brown twists, or the brown based twists at the time. And I liked it so much I actually got a few more sections coming. It's kind of almost like a crossover aromatic, and that may fade back as it gets more airtime and dries a little. But I had also tried the Samuel Gawith Brown twist, which is very similar, mixed 50-50 with the black, and I really enjoyed that. And this just adds a little something extra to it that's just really nice. And it's become just about, well, I have several favorite smokes, but it's certainly one of them now. It's a hard one to say no to for me. Housekeeping, that's a Savinelli 616 Oceano Smooth. One of my favorite Savinelli shapes. If they would make this in a saddle stem version, it would be beautiful. But that's okay. They thin it out enough that they make some C versions that are like compact. And I like the look of them, but it looks like it doesn't get quite as thin on the stem. And that would make me not like it as much. I think there's been one or two versions of it that have had more or less like an army mount style that are hard to come by, but I believe I've seen them. I think there's a dry system version, which I probably wouldn't be a fan of. I just, I like the 6 mil wide open. Mm. Mm. There'll be moments where you get a little more of the darker olive, earthy black twist. And there'll be moments where you get a little more of the whiskey. But as the bowl develops, once you get mid bowl, it starts to really come together. And if you're going to lean one way or the other, I'd say lean on the brown or the whiskey twist side. You might want to go more like 60-40 or even 30% black. And I like the black, but by itself, it's not that it's a little much for me. It's just there's not much else. It's a very uniform flavor that comes from that, and it's a very distinguished flavor. Nothing else is like that, and I like it. But when you combine that as kind of a base undertone with something with a few more nuances to it, and the brown twist is really nice. That Samuel Galleth was some 2018, and it had some nice crystal on the outside wrapper, and had developed a little plume on one or two ends of the sections. And it was a good smoke all by itself too. But I finally ran out of that, and that just made me desperate. So I'm like, well, I probably, like I said, I wouldn't have ordered the whiskey twist, except I was desperate to get some kind of brown twist in, and that's what they had. And most of the flavored twists that are brown twist based, you don't really get much of the flavor anyway. So, but I figured my luck that would be the stronger one, and it does seem to be, but it works, and it works extremely well. It's very good, very enjoyable. And that's coming from like the least aromatic smoker, other than a few crossovers, and or I'll have one once in a blue moon. There's a handful of them. I'll try here and there, but mostly just the occasional crossover. And like the plum pudding, with bourbon barrel aged, I didn't like that at all. Thought it was a waste of a perfectly good blend, to be honest. It smoked a lot better when I let it get really dry and crispy, but I don't think the particular bourbon in that worked with the tobaccos in that very well. I would have enjoyed the regular version more than that. I mean, but it was interesting. It was good marketing, and there was some potential there, and it kind of had that hat tip to you know the uh, the brand that is no more. So it was smart marketing. The packaging was beautiful. The flakes were beautiful. I didn't really care for the combination myself, but I still need to try the Mississippi River with the rum barrel age, because I hold out a little more hope for that. But the way this particular whiskey flavor mixes with the good natural, tobacco flavor that's in the brown twist, without dominating it, but without being completely hidden in it, it's beautiful. I mean, by itself, it's a great smoke. But when you add some black with it, man, it's really special. probably don't want to load a pipe this size normally. I'm very experienced with the stronger twists and higher nick tobaccos, and I know when to put it down. And I'm not always the best about doing it, but oh yeah. See, now the whiskey is starting to come in with the black. I really thought I might be wasting some of the last of my brown twist when I tried mixing it with the black the first time, but I enjoyed that combination for the same reasons, really. So much that I decided to go ahead and try it with this. As good as this is by itself with the whiskey twist, it needed a little something. It needed a little something. So I just thought, let me try what I did the other day with the brown. Wonderful. A wonderful combination of flavors. And I'll smoke both of them by themselves a little bit here and there, but oh, these are the droids I've been looking for right here. It's greater than the sum of its parts, and both parts are really good in their own right. It's a man's tobacco, that. Anyway, try to keep it a little on the short side for me. Anyway, so if you're lucky enough to have some of both of those, or can find them, I highly recommend. Just process some down and mix it. You might start 50-50. If you want to lean a little heavy, you could lean on just a little bit on the, on the whiskey twist side. And it's really good with the brown too, but this is even better. Now I did have some that was the leftovers of the brown and black mixed that I mixed some of this with, and that was equally wonderful. I don't think you have to go there. It was great, but this is really ticking all the same boxes with just those two, so. Good stuff. So anyway, hope this finds you well and enjoying your weekend. John Boy, the U.S. Piper. I'm going to smoke a little bit more of this before I set her down. He says that, and then he usually, I've been known to knock one of these out, which is not a great idea unless you've just eaten. And even then, but I tend to treat these kind of like the house pipe, I'll set it down and come back to it, sometimes a couple times. So it's the beauty of a bowl that size. And the 616 KS is a heck of a big bent billiard. It's basically the 320 of the bent billiard world. And but you could throw this in a 320 or any pipe you like, a nice pot, with would be a good choice. Anyway, give it a try. It's good stuff.